This is the Japanese philosophy that changed my life. In fact, it's the main reason that led me to close over 5.4 million in online sales. And most importantly, just live a life of true peace and fulfillment. In fact, I never really understood this when I was younger, and that's often why I was burnt out, not in really fulfilling relationships, and not in the health that I could have actually been. So stick with me until this end of this actual video because it might actually change yours. There might be the possibility there because oftentimes if we sit down and really think about how we live our life from a place of values, that's where true fulfillment is, where the money in your bank account is the number that you want to see, that future girlfriend or spouse is actually in your life, and you might have actually been in the body and physique that you've always wanted to look in across the mirror. So what is that Japanese philosophy? It's this idea of Shokunin. So in Japanese, its direct translation is someone who is a craftsman or artisan at what they do. So why is that so important? And why was that something that fundamentally changed my life? Well, let's think about it. The biggest problem that a lot of people who are kind of in their 20s or even their 30s, the issue that they have is they don't have an actual internal compass. They don't have a North Star to actually go after. And at least speaking for me personally, the reason why I was having a quarter life crisis back in 2020, 2021 was because I didn't have this feeling of purpose. I didn't feel like this direction or this thing that could actually pull me forward to something bigger than myself. If you're someone that's ever been frustrated or, stressed out, kind of questioning and doubtful if what am I doing in life or am I the thing that I am doing, is it actually leading to anything? Then I want you to pay attention to the next couple minutes because the truth is often in something below the surface. So let's talk through it. Back in 2020, I was extremely burnt out. I was actually about a year into my business, and I just graduated college a couple months back, and I was pretty aimless. I didn't know what to do with my life, even though I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was not having actual clear conviction, purpose, or mission behind what I was doing. And when I think back to it and reflect on it, why was that? Well, it's often because I was listening to a couple different things. One is the opinions of others. So I was listening to other people who didn't know what was the best for me and just kind of sharing advice that they often were hearing from this echo chamber of social media, right? It was also because I was scattered in all these different things. I tried drop shipping. I tried to work in corporate America for a little bit. I didn't know if I wanted to start my agency. I didn't know if I wanted to go into marketing or sales. All these mumbo jumbo and chaos inside of my brain led to sleepless nights. It led to me not being a good friend or son for my family. And it led me into very bad shape. In fact, I always joke, but I was very low T, low testosterone at the time because I just was aimless. And so how did I go from a point of being aimless and directionless to now in my life, I'm extremely happy. I have the relationships in my life that I want. I'm making the type of FU money that I've always wanted to make and living in the apartment in city of New York that I've always wanted to live. And I'm in the best physique that I've ever wanted to live. And it all came down to the idea of pursuing mastery, not materials. Mastery, not materials. And here's what I mean by this. Mastery is dedicating yourself, almost having this focused, almost sometimes obsessive desire to be good at something, be good at a craft, be good at a skill set, be good at a thing that actually allows you to bring out the best version of yourself. And that's what this idea of Shokunin truly is about. It's this idea where you are your muse, you are your craft, and the mastery is what continues to wake you up in the morning. The main reason why I have this conviction and almost sometimes it feels like endless amount of energy to do what I do and be good at what I want to be is because I've fully dedicated myself to becoming the best that I possibly can be when it comes to this world of sales and entrepreneurship. And before, if we really think about it, I was already in a business in 2020. In 2025, I'm still a business owner and entrepreneur. So the vehicle didn't change. What changed was the fuel that I was actually feeding that car. The actual engine was being actually driven by something that was much more clean and much more pure. Shokunin is the life force. It is the energy that drives you when you are actually trying to do something great in life. And oftentimes, it wasn't the business, the drop shipping, or the agency, or the coaching, the vehicle. It wasn't the vehicle that was going to solve my problems. It was the actual fuel behind that engine. That is what Shokunin actually is. In fact, it's pretty funny. How did I even come across this idea in the first place? Because, I call myself the sales sensei, but for anyone who doesn't know this, spoiler alert, I'm not actually Japanese, okay? I'm actually Filipino. I'm actually Pacific Islander, and I grew up in an American westernized world. So how do we combine the Western philosophy with the Eastern philosophy? And how do you get this guy, Larry, speaking in front of you right now? Well, a lot of this came down because I got obsessed with the samurais, funny enough. So there's this book called the Book of Five Rings by, I might butcher the name, but Mishimoto Muyashi. Okay, I'm going to totally butcher the name, so I'll put the link to the actual book below. But he was the best samurai in all of history. Like, literally, this guy is like I don't want to say the Floyd Mayweather of the world, because, to be honest, I'm Filipino, so I'm a Manny Pacquiao fan. But Floyd Mayweather was undefeated in his career, right? So this is a samurai who is undefeated in his career. Like, I'm talking like 50 plus duels that this guy just lived through all of them and like absolutely decimated his opponents, right? And this guy was obsessed about his craft. He practiced this idea of shokunin. He practiced this idea of being a craftsman. He didn't just understand the tactics or the practice of swinging a blade. He became the blade. He became a samurai. It embodied every living, breathing energy inside of him. And that's what woke him up. That's what got him to face his fears and to face his foes in the eyes and continue to show up, not just once, not just 5 times, not just 10 times or a dozen times, over 50 times. That's what got him up, that pulling, that vision to be the best of what he ever did, the best that ever was, as they say in Pokemon. Right, as Ash Ketchum once said. And so at the end of the day, if we want to be pulled by something that gets us out of maybe depression or anxiety or this aimlessness or chaos in life, we have to be pulled by something greater, a vision of our future self, a vision of the best version of ourselves. And the path towards that is mastery. When I was in my early 20s, and even as like a teenager, I was often distracted by this idea of driving the car, living in the penthouse, having all the girls, I was driven by what I call the byproduct of mastery or the byproduct of success. I was driven by these material things that, to be honest, once you get those things, once I achieved some of my goals, and once I even finally got the byproduct, the things that I've always wanted, the fulfillment was very short-lived. It maybe lasts for maybe a couple of days, maybe a week, maybe a month at most. But what continues to drive me, and what actually is lasting, what isn't fleeting, but actually lasting in your life, is going to be that fulfillment and continuous pursuit of your mastery. The continuous pursuit of your mastery, because at the end of the day, when you put your head down at night on your pillow, the only person that knows, did I do my best? And the only person that can feel like, am I becoming the best version of myself, is you. It's not the opinions of others. It's not that nice car that's sitting in your garage. It's not the Rolex watch that's sitting on your wrist. The thing that drives you is the knowingness that you are the person that you are actually meant to be, that you're actually reaching into that potential. And that's why Shokunin changed my life. It changed my life because this idea of becoming a craftsman, it wasn't sales because I wanted to be rich and to get all these deals. It was sales because I was obsessed with wanting to get better on the sales calls. It was wanting to improve my communication. It was doing the hours and hours and hours of reading and sales training courses and coaches that I've spent thousands and thousands upon dollars. It was obsessed with getting that little bit better each day. And that knowing that there was still more. And why this is so much more lasting is because the truth is, once you get to the next level, right, when you go from like a level 1 sales rep or to then level 5 or level 10 in your domain, in your career, you realize, holy crap, there's more levels to this game. And so what keeps fueling you is the game itself. It's the craft itself. It's understanding that when you thought was only possible, you're only getting to a fraction of what your potential actually is. And that is the beauty of this philosophy of Shokunin is at the grave, the truth is you might never ever achieve mastery. And that's okay. There's a peace that comes with knowing that even if you didn't achieve becoming the best at your domain, that there's so much fulfillment coming from the fact that you are becoming the person that could possibly be that. You know, Earl Nightingale, he's an OG. I don't know if you guys ever know Earl Nightingale. He had this audiobook called The Strangest Secret. It's one of my favorite audiobooks. I listened to this for the first time when I was like 17 years old. And he defines success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So when I really thought about that more, you know, I remember hearing that for the first time, like 16, 17 years old, and then really realizing it when I was kind of in my mid-20s, like 7 years later, I realized, oh, what Earl was saying is the same exact thing as this idea of Shokunin. It's the pursuit of mastery. It's getting better at your craft, right? If you are an athlete, it's getting better at your jumper in basketball, right? If you're a dancer, it's finding the little nuances of dancing that, you know, pop, lock, and drop it just a little bit more, that making it a little bit tighter, right? If you're a chef, it's figuring out that last ingredient that just adds that last flavor to your dish that makes it unique, makes it your own. So that's my encouragement to you, is if you feel lost and you're trying to find fulfillment, find your Shokunin. Embody your craft. Be obsessive over it. Because if I could tell my younger self one thing, it's I've achieved a lot of the things that I've always wanted to achieve when I was 18. But they're all fleeting. That doesn't drive me. What continues to allow me to play the game at 28, which is technically the same game that I was trying to play at 18, is just my mindset has changed about it. The perspective has changed about it. Again, the fuel that I am filling this vehicle up, this car up, of entrepreneurship is not diesel anymore. Like, it's electricity. And just like the sun, which is infinite and continues to downpour electricity into these electric vehicles, it's an infinite supply. And that's the possibility for you. On the other side of this philosophy is you making the generational life-changing wealth that you've always wanted to make. It's you having that fulfilling partner in life or friends that you've always wanted. And it's you like surpassing that image in your body that you could have ever surpassed. That is the beauty of Shokunin, my friend. And with that, I just want to express my gratitude. Thank you for watching this video. If it resonated with you, please drop a comment below. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. I'd love to continue seeing you in the comments. I'd love to continue having you part of this community right here. Pursuing the best version of ourselves. Pursue Shokunin. This is Larry Porta, aka the Sales Sensei. Sayonara. I'll see you in the next training.